welcome back to another edition of GW Unspoken, where we discuss stuff we don't typically talk about but probably should, and we're here with Season 9, Episode 6, talking about gratitude, and today is about gratitude isn't always being pretty when thank you feels hard. This is a podcast where we don't just whisper sweet things into the void, we actually tackle the real, raw and occasional uncomfortable truths about life, love and human connection, and today it's sort of talking about something that's going to hit a little differently, and it's about gratitude hasn't always been pretty. In fact, sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's the emotional equivalent of that awkward hug you get, from your least favourite uncle at the family reunion at Christmas. And here's the one thing that no one tells you. It's not always warm. It's not always fuzzy. That Pinterest worth feeling. Sometimes it feels more like gravel in your shoes or sandpaper in your soul. We hear so much about, gratitude is the key to happiness. And, we talked about last week, positive vibes only, that we, forget something crucial. This is the thing we forget. Gratitude is actually hard. It actually asks you to say thank you, even when you don't want to, even when you're hurt, even when that thank you comes with a side of bitterness. Have you ever had to thank someone for a lesson you really didn't want to learn? Yeah, it's not so cute, is it? And here's the science behind why this happens. When you're forced is a word, forced into a situation where you feel obliged to be grateful, like thanking a boss who made you miserable for toughening you up, your brain triggers a cognitive dissonance response. And that thinking part of the brain, that prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thought and emotional regulation, it goes to war with your emotional brain, the amygdala, which is screaming, this is not okay. And studies show that when we express gratitude under pressure, our stress hormones actually increase. There's been a study from the University of California, Berkeley, where it found that gratitude felt out of obligation, or when it is found out of obligation or pressure, it can actually lead to an increased amount of anxiety, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. And that's because your brain knows you're faking it, even if you don't. So let me say this really clearly in this episode. You don't have to be grateful for everything. You don't have to be grateful for every lesson, every hardship, every jerk across your path. Gratitude is not about pretending something was good when it wasn't. You don't have to thank the bully for building your character. You don't have to thank the ex for teaching you what you don't want. You don't have to thank the toxic workplace for making you stronger. You can be grateful for what you learned without being grateful for the lesson itself. It's a big, big difference. And if you've ever heard someone say to you, you should just be grateful you even have a job, when you're drowning in deadlines and office politics, you know exactly what I mean. Gratitude isn't a moral high ground. It's not a contest to see who can be the most positive in the face of adversity. It's not, oh, you're grateful for morning coffee. Well, I'm grateful for my crippling student debt because it taught me resilience. No thanks, I'll stick to my flat white. So how do we practice real gratitude even when it's uncomfortable? So here's some ideas, here's some plans. So I'll give you 3 of them today. Number 1, separate the lesson from the experience. You can be grateful for the growth without being grateful for the wound. I'm grateful I learned my worth, even if I had to learn it the hard way. Number 2, just name it. Name it to tame it. Name the ugly parts. You can say, I'm not thankful for the betrayal, but I'm thankful for the strength it gave me. I'm not grateful for the burnout, but I'm grateful I learned where my boundaries are. And number 3, allow for mixed feelings. Gratitude doesn't have to be pure. It can be messy, complicated, and contradictory. You can love someone and still be glad they're gone. You can miss a time in your life and still be thankful that it's over. Now, that's probably a lot to come in, but here's something you can do now. You can write this down again. I'm going to suggest this from your perspective. You write down 3 journal prompts. This is them for the week. Number 1, say to yourself, what's one thing in my life I feel pressured to be grateful for, but honestly still feel bitter or hurt about? Write it down. As I said before, actually name it. Free yourself from the forced positivity. Just write down. Number 2, say to yourself, what's a hard lesson I learned and how can I express gratitude for the growth without pretending I'm grateful for the pain? Write down what you honour. Honour the growth without sugarcoating the struggle. And number 3, write down where in your life you could practice gratitude and hold space for genuine, messy and human emotions. Like maybe it's a situation, a person, or a time you're still processing. Write them down, have a self-reflection, get them out of your brain, get them out of your head, and sometimes it actually makes you feel better to actually down on paper. Okay, well, that's the episode 6. And remember, gratitude isn't moral high ground. It's actually a practice, a messy, sometimes uncomfortable, always real practice. And if someone ever tries to force you into toxic gratitude, just remember, you don't owe anyone a thank you for a bad time. You don't. All right. And if this episode hit home for you, make sure you share it with someone who's tired of pretending that maybe, everything is fine. And as always, I'm grateful you're here, mess and all. I'm Gary Woodford, and this is GAW Unspoken, where we keep it real, raw, and unapologetically human. Catch you next week, legends.